Thank you, Brooks, and I want to thank all of the people here who are here to advocate for avoiding and fighting the proposed changes Representative Bulger have put forth. I'm Thomas Stallworth. I represent the 7th District in Detroit. I also chair the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus and the Detroit Caucus. Late last year, our Detroit Caucus took a formal position of opposing auto no-fault reforms as put forth by Representative Bulger. What we're talking about today is merely a tweaking of the original proposal that we saw. I want to be clear that this isn't an issue, as we're talking about today, that we're willing to negotiate on. We're not interested in tweaking or modifying the proposal as put forth. Quite frankly, it is not addressing the issues that we care about and that citizens care about. I too am one of the citizens that pay $6,000 a year for auto no-fault insurance. And there are changes that can be made that will address those very, very expensive costs. The Speaker and the special interest insurance groups have used words like affordability, like transparency, all in a way in a disingenuous manner to attract the public's support. This is an inaccurate representation of what this bill will do. If, in fact, we're talking about affordability, we should be focusing on the 80% of the bill that actually drives the cost, whether that's collision and theft. There are opportunities to reduce costs based on real transparency. And let me be clear, this conversation started with a position that the auto no-fault system and the catastrophic fund was unsustainable. That's how this conversation started. Yet, that's not what the Speaker is talking about now. He's talking about affordability and transparency and a lot of other things, but still going at the same issue and without ever proving the case.
Right.
And so we've asked numerous times for the books to be open. If we really are vested and committed to transparency, then the MCCA should open their books. As Brooks mentioned earlier, we're talking about $18 billion. And let's just go on the record and say that part of the provision is that should a change be made and there is an excess in that fund, those excesses are shared by the insurance companies. And so our caucus members believe this is nothing more than an attempted train robbery, a hijacking of $18 billion by the auto insurance companies. And so again, we're not interested in negotiating on this specific set of bills. What we are interested in is putting in changes that will address the use of credit scoring, that will address the issues of transparency and regulations and oversight of the MCCA board, so that all of our citizens and those who pay into the fund have an opportunity to see the numbers. That's a reasonable request. I think all of you would agree. And that's what real transparency is about. In many other states, insurance companies are required to go before a regulatory board to prove their case to increase rates. We don't have such oversight here in Michigan. And Speaker Bulger has offered $160, $180, 10% reduction in rates that he's willing to only guarantee for 2 years. And then the position is, after that 2 years, competition will take over. Well, isn't that what we got right now? Competition? I don't think that $160 that he's proposed will be retained. I believe the rates will jump right back up and we will get absolutely no benefit. Quite frankly, $160 is an insult to somebody who's paying $6,000 for auto insurance. it goes nowhere near addressing the issues that we have. And so I again want to just emphasize that there are changes that can be made, that the Republican caucus, some of them, and I need to, in saying that, say I really am thankful to my counterpart on the other side of the aisle, Gail Haynes, who has been a real champion for effective changes that really meet the needs of the citizens of Michigan. I also want to thank Phil Kavanaugh, who has, in our Detroit caucus, really been a driver of proposals and recommendations that will make real changes to our system, that will drive down affordability and drive transparency. And so there are opportunities to make changes that you'll be hearing more about from us in the very, very near future. But again, I think in closing, I just want to be clear that we have said from the very beginning, if the issue is sustainability of the MCCA fund, the only way we can even have a conversation about the fund is first open the books. We need to know what the profits are. We need to see the actuarial forecast. We need to be clear that the fund is truly at risk. And I can only submit to you that the unwillingness to do so would suggest to me that the fund is really not seeing a crisis. That in fact it is sustainable. And everything we're talking about is a smokescreen aimed at garnering the fund, that $18 billion that sits in the fund. So with that, I also want to say to you that my first real exposure to this issue came with my visit right here. And when I came here, I had the opportunity to meet and talk with citizens who were the victims of catastrophic injuries and who had been told they would never walk again. Institutions like this give them hope, give them the therapy that they need to have a brighter future and an opportunity to regain their independence. What Speaker Bolger's proposal will do ultimately is drive those same people into bankruptcy and into nursing homes, only to die, when we have a system that really is put together in a way that treats the victims of catastrophic injuries as real people who ought to be cared for and are deserving of the attention they currently receive. And so I want to thank Walk the Line, Erica, Fred Nader, for their commitment to service and helping those who are truly in need. And we stand together, opposed to the current legislation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tommy. And when I grew up in politics, I want to be able to have the same level of passion that you have. I appreciate your remarks.